Hey, good morning. I have a lot of customers asking me, how do you determine what to charge for a house? Or, I'm not sure what's all included in pressure washing a house. So this video is for my customers and for new people to show them how we, look at a house and price it out. So let's go. The first step in the process is you're going to walk around the house and you're going to evaluate the house. You're going to see if it's a one-story home or if it's a two-story home. Typically, for customers, you will tell them that a house wash will include all the vinyl siding. Obviously, the windows will get rinsed off and they'll have some of the bigger mold and mildew done, but they're not going to be spot-free and they're not going to be washed. That's a separate charge. But you're going to clean all the vinyl, all the guttering coming down, kill the mold, the mildew, and anything that's not a stain like tar. You can't fix holes in the vinyl. Okay, so if we're looking around at this house here, when you inspect it as you walk around, you'll start noticing things like that nail hole. We can't fix that nail hole. You might see a bunch of rust coming down from that nail. That would be an extra charge. It's not killing mold and mildew and dirt and grime. That's removing rust off of that nail. On the window frames, you might see tiger stripes. On the gutters, even though we sprayed them down and washed them, they're not hand washed. It'll get off the mold and mildew and things like that. That's included with the cleaning the vinyl siding and same with the soffit. But if they want all those tiger stripes removed, that's going to require some different formulas in your detergents, and it's also going to require a lot of hand work. In addition, if they want the inside of the gutters cleaned out and the downspouts cleaned out, that's not included in a house wash. Once again, a house wash is all the vinyl siding around the house. So you're going to continue your inspection. You can see right there, there's a couple really bad spots right there. Okay, as you're going around and inspecting, you're going to run your hand on the vinyl siding everywhere you go. Now this house is wet, you may not be able to see it too good, but it does have some oxidization. It's just due here in the morning. I checked it the other day, but you'll check for oxidization all the way around the house, every wall. And the reason you're going to do this is, once again, you need to let the customer know we're cleaning the vinyl of mold and mildew, surface dirt and grime. If it's oxidized, A, you got to be real careful with it so that the house doesn't blotch and you're not washing the oxidization off. B, you need to let them know you're not restoring vinyl. If they want all of that off, or it blotches, either have a waiver or make them aware of it, or tell them vinyl restoration costs more because you're going to use different chemicals, you're going to use a lot of hand scrubbing and that kind of thing. But as long as you're sticking with the soft wash, you're not really knocking most of that off. So now we're checking every wall for oxidization, we're checking for rust, we're checking for holes, we're looking for vinyl that has cracks in it, we're looking for electrical outlets you have to work around, we're looking for trees, shrubs, bushes you have to work around. We can see this customer has a deck. The deck, if they want all that cleaned, is going to be an additional charge. That's deck cleaning. That requires a little bit different procedures in cleaning vinyl and siding. But you'll look for, things like electrical outlets like these up here. You'll look for outside plugs if there's anything that you have to cover up. Any bush or tree or shrub that you have to work around. If it has a second story, that'll add cost. And while we're talking about the second story up there, actually get your ladder out, crawl up there and look at it, because you can't see things here from the ground. So let's say, for example, way up there, when you're up there, you're going to notice that there's some vinyl way up there starting to come loose a little bit. Can you see that? Hope I'm seeing it. My camera lens is all fogged up. So you're going to see that those are starting to peel, and you'll point those out. You want to point it out to the customer because you want them to be able to fix things now while it's relatively cheap to fix something versus fixing things later when it's going to cost them a lot of money. A piece of siding's missing or some rotted wood, or you find a window frame that water's running down into. Over time, that's just going to allow water intrusion, which is the house's worst enemy. That's why you have paint and siding. It's going to make the house rot from the inside out, so to speak. So you continue your inspection, and you're just pointing these things out to yourself mentally at first, but you're going to take your customer for a walk around and just point some of these things out. You know, a lot of guys say, oh, don't do that. You know, you don't want to scare them. It's like, look, I don't want to scare anybody, but I want my customers to know if I'm sitting here really eyeballing their house and I'm noticing some things they can fix cheaply, the customers are very appreciative if you point things out, not in a bad way. Don't go wreck their week and make it sound like doom and gloom, but just say, look, I just noticed a couple things, you know, and you might want to have your handyman or whoever fix these. The other thing you're going to talk to them about is, you know, things that can be cleaned and can. If you notice something like a rust stain or whatever, it's good to point out for their expectations so they know that when you're done, hey, that rust stain's not coming out, or that hole in the siding's not being fixed. Okay, so another thing to look for is storm windows. Now these don't have them on them. If I had the storm windows on there, that's just a big screen. You would charge a little more if you had to take those off, you know, to get around them, to clean, you know, around a frame or something, but most power washers don't do that. This does lead into letting the people know, hey, you know, you have windows that need to be cleaned. You know, if you provide that service, and tell them what it will cost to do that service. If you don't provide the service, get a good window washer friend of yours and get a bunch of his cards and refer them to your window washer friend. You know, that way you can tell your friend, hey, there's 38 windows on this house, they have storm windows, whatever, give this lady a call, give her a good price, she's a good customer, she pays, etc., etc., and maybe you guys can work something out. So that's always an upsell or a good referral, and it's taking care of your customer. But another reason you're pointing out windows is when you're done, if there's oxidization and it has run down, even if you've rinsed these windows, A, the windows are going to be spotty anyways because you're not using pure water, and then B, if somebody that has streaked on there, you know, they need to realize that we've rinsed off all we can rinse off, but there will be spots, there will be streaks. We're not cleaning your windows per se like a window cleaner does, spotless. They're getting all the dirt, grime, and that kind of stuff off, but they're not spotless window treatments. You know, you're coming around to the back here, you notice this is the back dock. That would be a different charge. You know, this takes a lot more effort and work to clean this kind of stuff off, and you don't want to use a pressure washer. You don't want to ruin their deck. You can't fix their, you know, their stuff that's loose or wobbly or rotted over. You know, you're not a miracle worker. Once again, you're looking at the back electrical outlets that you got to take care around. Lights you got to take care around. You want to look at these tracks. If you look at this one, you see all the mold and mildew, but you also see that rotted wood down there. You know, I can't fix the rotted wood down there and replace it. So you want to be careful around these areas and just point them out to them. You have a nice brick and a patio paver patio here. They're not doing that on this job, but the point is, this isn't like a sidewalk. This has dirt or grout or whatever in between all the joints. It needs to be cleaned out, resanded, or you can just spray it all down and offer just to kill all the surface mold and mildew without really, you know, taking care of the cracks and joints and that kind of thing. So there's a lot of options for you to do, and there's a lot of stuff to talk to your customer. It only takes about 20 minutes, you know, on your initial run when you're doing a bid. Point all this stuff out, you know, all the shrubs and the flowers up against the building, garbage cans that have to be moved. Take all this into consideration. You don't have to tell your customer every little thing that you have to move, but just take it all into consideration, because it's all going to add time to this job. You know, there's a lot of things to work around, there's a lot of things to move, there's a lot of plants to pre-soak, after soak, you know. So I hope that helps you as a customer. I hope it helps new people. You know, this vinyl siding here, you can see some dents in it. You can see another nail here. Pay attention to these joints. You don't want water going this way. You know, when you're rinsing, you're always going to be going that way. Now when you're done with the house, you take the guy for a final inspection. There's the nail, no rust coming out of it, which I pointed out. Those are the two spots right there. which the paint is off of the siding. It's wore down. But luckily I told him there's a couple little holes that I told him wouldn't come out. Front came out real nice. The upstairs came out good. There's a couple tiger stripes up there, which I told him, you know, we're not providing a cleaning gutter service. We'll spray them down. They're a lot better. Killed all the mold and mildew like we promised. But if he wants the tiger stripes out, you know, he can have us back to do that later when we clean them out in the spring. Now, you also want to look around for things like right there. A little bit of stuff dripped out of the shutters. I didn't catch it, so I'll go wipe that up real quick. But basically, you get the idea. You take him around the whole house, you show him everything, look how nice it is. He's happy. You once again point out anything that you found that you didn't point out previously. And here's a hole that was there. All the mildew's dead off of this side. I did spray a little bit on this deck just to kill some of it so I could walk around, but he's got to get this deck done before it was real black. That's one real light spray, but I didn't rinse it all down good and stuff. But the back here came out excellent, all that mold and mildew and algae. And gave the plants a final spray. All those holes in those leaves, he's got snails. Some of this salt might drive the snails out. They don't like salt. See all those holes? Those are from snails. At least that's what they tell me. When I moved the garbage cans, there was a little hole back there from where they threw that metal. So I opted not to put the garbage cans back just because I don't want to have him saying I poked a hole in there. That's where the car drove into the wall there. Not my car, their cars. Can't fix that. All came out nice, and the wasps are all flying around because they are mad. And that's all I have for you today.